I have a brother who works TSA, so I think we should be paying these guys just like we should be paying our military and everybody else.
A bit of deja vu here at Reagan National Airport, where TSA officers, the men and women you see behind me screening bags and IDs, are on the job today, but they are working without pay again. That's because funding for the Department of Homeland Security expired over the weekend, triggering this partial federal shutdown. And it was just months ago when we saw workers without paychecks during the longest shutdown in U.S. history. About 95% of TSA screeners are deemed essential at the airports, while Congress remains deadlocked on Homeland Security funding. So what do travelers think about this happening again?
I think there's too much infighting within the government. I think they need to work together and just stop all this crap, and let's move the country forward, and let's unite.
Morning, a partial government shutdown is entering its third day. Democrats refusing to fund the Department of Homeland Security over President Trump's ongoing immigration enforcement policies after 2 American citizens were shot dead in Minneapolis.
We've drawn a hard line in the sand on behalf of the American people.
Among the reforms Democrats want, a uniform code of conduct for ICE operations. That ICE agents stop wearing face masks and obtain warrants signed by a judge before making arrests. The president has not said he'll make any concessions.
We'll see what happens. We always have to protect our law enforcement.
DHS is a sprawling department with more than 200,000 employees. It includes ICE, but also other critical agencies like FEMA, the Coast Guard, and the TSA. Those employees will be required to work without pay during a shutdown, though ICE has already received $75 billion last year through what President Trump called his big, beautiful bill.
They're not stopping ICE from doing their job. All this is a political theater.
The nation's airports now bracing for potential travel delays if the shutdown drags on. The last one lasted 43 days, and some unpaid TSA employees called out from work, creating massive delays nationwide.
You can only plan so far ahead before food starts going bad, or how many cups of ramen soup am I going to feed my kids?
Roberto Echeverria is a TSA officer in Salt Lake City.
Instead of us focusing 100% on national security, we're having to focus on where our next paycheck is going to come from.
We go again. There we go again. The TSA, they are not getting paid. Another shutdown. We remember the last year, 2025 shutdown that lasted for days. Now the partial shutdown is going on for another days, and a lot of people are taking it to social like, not again. These folks gotta eat, they gotta feed their family. They are working without pay. Imagine in this economy that is so hard to feed your family as it is. Now not getting paid on top of that. This is getting so hard. It's getting so hard for the TSA. And if they decided not to come to work, who is going to hold them? Who is going to blame them? You know what I mean? At this point, we just don't know what is going on. It is time for the government to come together and just come to the middle and do something. Because we are not even talking of those that want to travel. Now we are talking of the employee, the workers, that they got families at this time. They got to pay their rent. They got to feed their families. They got to buy their insurance. They got to buy their medications. They got a lot. They have planned for monthly. Even that monthly income is not even enough for their expenses. Now this is happening. A lot of people took it to social media. Let's go.
US TSA is not paid during a shutdown, and it sucks and it's not fair. And to my friends at TSA, I'm sorry. I cannot imagine doing this again. And just wanted to let you know people are really grateful for you. And we can't imagine, but we're working hard to restore funding. And hang tough.
Well, Democrats have sent a counteroffer to Republicans as we enter the 4th day of a partial government shutdown over Homeland Security funding. Lawmakers are on recess and no details have been provided about the counter. Meanwhile, there is concern that long TSA lines will lead to widespread flight delays since TSA officers are now working again without a paycheck. News Nation national correspondent Marcus Espinoza is live for us at Newark Liberty International Airport. Marcus, good morning to you. There have only been a handful of cancellations so far.
Hey, Marky, good morning. Yeah, good news on that front, but definitely deja vu for those TSA officers that we'll get to in just a second here. Here at the airport, under 20 for cancellations and delays here. Not a big deal. Across the nation, under 700 for delays, and then cancellations are also hovering below 70 there. So not huge on the delay front yet. However, there is concern that could snowball throughout the weeks if this government shutdown continues, because once again, those TSA officers are working and keeping folks safe without a paycheck. That is the story here, and there are tens of thousands of them. 64,000 TSA officers are now working without pay. More than 95% are considered essential, meaning they have to show up. The first reduced or missed paychecks for these folks, that's expected around March 3rd, during that record-breaking shutdown that we covered extensively just a few months ago. Some of them had to take side jobs, dip into savings, or struggle to pay for the basics like gas in their car or even childcare.
They're still living a paycheck from paycheck to paycheck and trying to catch up from the last shutdown. And now you just added another level of stress that we're not allowed to talk about. We're not allowed to think about while we're on the floor. We have to do our job.
I think anxiety also big time for these folks. TSA leaders worry that added financial pressure could eventually hit staffing, especially as spring break travel picks back up. And blaming Washington, travelers say they feel for officers caught up once again in a political stalemate.
It's a government problem, so it's none of their fault. That's why it's so sad, because these people that are working here for nothing right now, it's not their fault. They didn't do this.
And with lawmakers on recess, no clear timeline on when a deal can come together and try to solve this thing. And as you always should, and treat people with kindness, pack a little bit extra when you head to the airport for these TSA officers working once again without a paycheck, so close to that 43-day government shutdown. Just hard to believe that they are there once again, Marky.
And we thank them for still showing up, right? I mean, even though they know they're not getting a paycheck right now. I can't imagine the anxiety needing to provide for your family, too. Marcus will stay on top of it. Thank you so much, live from Newark.
I will not be surprised if more TSA workers around the country stop showing up. It's been damn near a month of this government shutdown bullshit, and ain't getting paid. And I do not blame them in the slightest for not going to work. And trust and believe, I understand you pick your job. Whether or not you are a government employee, you know that. You know, you work TSA, you work in the military, you do any of that, obviously, you know that. But to be working in this economy of ours and not get paid? Hell no. Like, I'm supposed to be worried about, as a TSA worker, where these motherfuckers are going to get from A to B, okay? But I don't know the next time I'm going to get paid. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay rent this month. I don't know if I'm going to be able to eat this fucking month. It is genuinely sad as and it is only going to get worse. Because like I said in the beginning, I would not be surprised in the slightest if other major airports start looking like the Houston airport. Real because I'm so sorry, but I could not imagine dealing with you that are taking flights right now, genuinely, without getting paid. Yeah, no, you. And that. Bye. Figure it out. Take a train. And I'm happy for them for standing on business. Real I just know, though, is really about to hit the fan.
So I'm in the airport, and I want to ask the TSA agents, did they get a bonus? So let's go and see. Excuse me, beautiful women. Excuse me, beautiful women. How y'all doing? Look, I got a question. I'm a content creator. Did y'all get the 10K?
No, it's a lie. That's a lie. That's right.
Well, I told y'all. I figured the government was lying.
For the media.
Yeah.
Day 47 of the government shutdown. Well, at least to TSA officers it is, because they still haven't been paid. And that $10,000 bonus check that was promised doesn't seem like it's going to make it to the hands of the mass majority of TSA officers. Now, this $10,000 stuff really threw me for a loop, because there has been so much dialogue around this freaking bonus check internally. And I'm going to let you know what's going on. Now, if you don't know, last week, Secretary Noem had a press conference at Bush Airport saying that they were going to be giving TSA officers $10,000 checks. These TSA officers who will receive these checks are people who went over and beyond during the government shutdown. On camera at this airport, she handed out several envelopes with what we presumed as checks inside of the envelope to several officers there. I'm receiving intel saying that, and this is all alleged, that there were no checks in the envelopes. And you know, as a former TSA officer myself and someone who has also received bonuses from this agency, I found that weird when I saw them handing out paper checks, well, what we thought were paper checks, because when you receive bonuses from TSA, it's not in a check form. It's a direct deposit.
We made it to the airport, but let me show you this TSA line. Oh, you can't zoom in. This is crazy.
So today we are announcing that we are going to be handing out bonus checks of $10,000 to TSOs, to agents who work for TSA who served with exemplary service. And what that means is that we are going to not only continue their paychecks like they should have received all along, but also they're going to get a bonus check for stepping up, taking on extra shifts, for showing up each and every day, for serving the American people, and taking seriously the mission that the Department of Homeland Security takes seriously and that they take seriously every single day, and that's keeping the American people safe.
We are here standing in solidarity with our union brothers and sisters, with our air traffic controllers and our TSA agents who work every single day to make sure that we are safe. The LAX airport is one of the busiest in the world, and now you have the very same president working as hard as he can with Voldemort Vought to fire and unlawfully terminate federal workers and not give furloughed workers back pay. I had a constituent call me just the other day to tell me that she was now having to call her bank to ask for mortgage relief because she was not able to pay her rent. I had another federal worker call me and tell me that they were dipping into the last of their savings to make ends meet. This is a slap in the face to federal workers working at LAX and in agencies and departments across this country. And I have to say that we are all impacted when a federal worker is furloughed or terminated. If you have a question about your Social Security benefit, if you have a question about your Medicare or Medicaid, if you want to know if the food that you're buying from the grocery store is safe, if you want to go to a park, if you want to get a passport, if you want to go and travel to see your grandmother, if you want to make sure that your grandmother is okay in a nursing home, all of the people who answer those questions and make sure that there are solutions are federal workers. Every day I get on a plane, I thank God for the pilot, the crew, the plane itself, and the agents and workers who are making sure that every single one of us are getting to our destination safely, on time, and alive. And that prayer is going to become even more important if Donald Trump and these Republicans continue to keep this government shut down because they don't want to fix our broken health care system. It is a disgrace.
We have some major news. It's the middle of the night and the Department of Homeland Security has shut down. They have technically run out of funding, and here's what that means. Funding for DHS expired at 12 a.m. Saturday morning, so around the time that I'm filming this, beginning a shutdown that was not expected to bring most of the department's work to a halt, yet could disrupt travelers, immigration enforcement, and disaster relief if it's prolonged. Department officials have said that its essential missions and functions would continue, and during last fall's government shutdown, more than 90% of the department's employees were required to keep working. The reason it's shut down is because of a partisan divide in Congress. Republicans don't want to compromise on basic reforms for ICE, such as mandating that officers remove masks during enforcement operations and that they obtain warrants from judges to make arrests in homes. So pretty basic stuff that Republicans don't want. And so DHS has been shut down. And until Democrats and Republicans can come to an agreement, which hopefully would be an agreement that includes those common sense reforms, it'll be shut down until then. I'll keep you updated on it, but just another day in Donald Trump's America.